There is a moment during shoulder recovery when many people start thinking about an MRI. Maybe the pain increased after a week that seemed to be going well. Maybe the shoulder suddenly feels weaker. Maybe you reached for something, felt a sharp pull, and now the arm does not feel quite the same. Or maybe recovery is simply taking longer than you expected, and you are starting to wonder whether something is being missed. The thought sounds reasonable. Shouldn't we just get an MRI and see what is going on? But the most useful question is not whether an MRI could show something. It is whether the result would change what happens next. I'm Dr. Dan, an orthopedic surgeon who has helped thousands of people through shoulder surgery. My job here is simple: cut through the noise so your recovery makes sense. An MRI can be extremely useful. It can evaluate the integrity of a repair, identify a new injury, and help explain a meaningful loss of function. But during recovery, it can also show normal postoperative changes, findings that were already present, or abnormalities that do not explain your current symptoms. That is why an MRI should answer a defined question. It should not be ordered simply because recovery feels uncomfortable, slow, or uncertain. The biggest misconception is that every increase in pain or change in function requires immediate imaging. That belief comes from an understandable place. You do not want to wait too long and later discover that a repair failed or that a new problem developed while you were watching and waiting. But ordering an MRI before defining the question can sometimes create more confusion. You may receive a report filled with words such as thinning, irregularity, signal change, inflammation, degeneration, partial tearing, or postoperative change. Those words can sound alarming, but the report is not the entire diagnosis. The timing of your symptoms matters. What happened before the symptoms changed matters. Your strength, motion, and function matter. The type of surgery matters. How far you are into recovery matters. And most importantly, whether the result would change the plan matters. Imagine that you are several weeks into recovery. Therapy has been moving forward and the soreness has generally been manageable. Then you reach awkwardly to keep a glass from falling. You feel a quick pull. The next morning, the shoulder aches more than usual. Within hours, you are wondering whether you damaged the repair. And the fear is real, but the intensity of the fear does not tell you whether the structure changed. And the better starting point is to define what is actually different. Did the pain rise briefly and then begin settling? Is there a new loss of motion? Is there a substantial change in strength? Can you still do what you were able to do before the incident? Is the pattern improving, stable, or worsening? Those questions usually lead to one of three paths. The first path is observation. Observation may be reasonable when soreness follows an awkward movement, increased activity, or a therapy session. There is no major loss of function, and the symptoms begin moving back toward baseline. Observation does not mean pretending nothing happened. It means watching the pattern instead of treating one painful moment as proof that the repair failed. Reduce unnecessary aggravation. Stay within your existing restrictions. Pay attention to whether the pain, motion, and function begin returning toward where they were before the incident. A temporary increase in soreness that starts settling is very different from a continued decline. If you are trying to determine whether your recovery is still on track, the Shoulder Recovery Guide includes a recovery audit and safety check. You can find it through the link in the description below. The second path is contacting your medical team. That becomes more appropriate when the pain continues to escalate. You develop an unexpected loss of motion. Your function is moving backward instead of recovering, or you are uncertain whether you remain within your restrictions. Contacting the team does not automatically mean you need an MRI. Often, the next useful step is a conversation and a careful examination. An examination can help determine whether the change appears to be pain-limited, stiffness-related, neurologic, or more concerning for a structural problem. It can also reveal something an MRI cannot show by itself: how the shoulder is actually functioning. That clinical information helps determine whether imaging is likely to answer a meaningful question. The third path is clinical reassessment with possible imaging. An MRI becomes more useful when there has been a fall or other traumatic event, substantial new weakness, loss of function you had already regained, persistent worsening, or an examination suggesting a structural change. These are the situations where the result may actually change what happens next. The questions should be specific. Are we evaluating the integrity of a repair? Are we looking for a new injury? Are we trying to explain a persistent loss of strength or function? Would the answer change rehabilitation, activity restrictions, another treatment, or a possible procedure? That is very different from ordering an MRI, only because recovery feels slower or more uncomfortable than expected. This distinction matters because anatomy after surgery can be difficult to interpret. Healing tissue may not look identical to tissue that was never injured. There may be fluid, inflammation, scar tissue, irregular tendon appearance, or other postoperative changes. Some findings may have been present before surgery, others may be part of the healing process, and some may be real abnormalities that still do not explain what you are feeling today. An MRI does not automatically tell you which finding is causing your symptoms. It does not tell you whether the shoulder is safe to use within your restrictions. And it does not choose between more time, a therapy adjustment, activity modification, another treatment, or another procedure. That decision comes from combining the images with your symptoms, examination, function, and recovery timeline. Now consider a different situation. You are 4 months after surgery. Your shoulder had been improving. You were sleeping better, reaching farther, and feeling more confident. Then progress seems to stall. You're more sore after therapy, and lifting the arm feels slightly harder than it did the week before. There was no fall, sudden injury, dramatic pop, or clear loss of function. Because improvement no longer feels obvious, you begin wondering whether the repair failed. This is where you have to separate a plateau from a meaningful decline. Recovery rarely follows a perfectly smooth timeline. There may be visible improvement for several weeks, followed by days or even a few weeks when progress is harder to recognize. A plateau can be frustrating without necessarily meaning that the structure changed. A fall, followed by substantial new weakness and lost function, is a different situation from several difficult therapy sessions, followed by increased soreness. That distinction is often more useful than the pain number by itself. From your perspective, recovery is measured through daily life. Can I reach into the cabinet? Can I wash my hair? Can I sleep through the night? Can I carry something without thinking about my shoulder? Those measures are important. But a clinical evaluation asks additional questions. Has your measured motion changed? Has your strength objectively changed? Has the examination changed? Are there signs suggesting a structural problem? Would imaging change today's treatment decision? A shoulder can still be healing appropriately while daily life feels frustrating. A shoulder can also look acceptable on imaging while function remains limited. That is why neither your symptoms nor the MRI should be interpreted alone. Here's the question I want you to remember. If this MRI found something, would it change what happens next? If the answer is yes, imaging may be extremely valuable. If the next step would still be a careful examination, continued observation, or the same rehabilitation plan, an MRI today may not provide the certainty you are hoping for. This is not an argument against imaging. It is an argument for using imaging to answer a defined question. Most recovery decisions are not made during appointments. They are made after carrying laundry, reaching into the back seat, waking with unexpected soreness, or wondering whether therapy was too much. The goal is not to diagnose yourself. It is to recognize which of the 3 paths best describes your situation. Observe a temporary change that is beginning to settle. Contact your medical team about persistent worsening, unexpected loss of motion, declining function, or uncertainty about your restrictions. Seek clinical reassessment with imaging considered when trauma, substantial new weakness, lost function, persistent deterioration, or examination findings raise a question that could change the plan. Now tell me in the comments, what change during recovery would make you worry that you had damaged your shoulder? A painful reach, a pop, new weakness, or simply slower progress? My goal is to help you make sense of the decisions that happen between appointments. And if your MRI report uses the words partial tear or full thickness tear, watch my video, Partial Tear versus Full Thickness Tears, next. That video explains what those labels mean and why the label alone does not determine your symptoms or your next step. An MRI should inform the decision. It should not make the decision by itself. Do not ask only whether an MRI could show something. Ask whether the result would change what you do next. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.